guys, and welcome back to another Lost Bits video right here on Tetrabit Gaming, where we explore the unused, scrapped, and unseen content in video games. And back we are again with yet another Sonic video. If you haven't heard, recently as of the making of this video, a newly discovered prototype has been dropped by the Hidden Palace and the cutting room floor. Now, I know a lot of you have been waiting for a proper Sonic 3 Lost Bits video, but this prototype has so much to talk about that I'll be keeping this video dedicated to just it, but I will make separate videos on both the final game as well as Sonic and Knuckles, eventually. Anyways, enough talk, it's time to pull our socks up and dash into some Sonic 3 Lost Bits. Sporting a build date of November 3rd, 1993, this newly found prototype was just 3 months away from its initial release in North America. So let's see just how much was altered and scrapped in that time. And what better way to start than with the title screen? Ugh, what is that? This title screen honestly looks like it could be from one of those bootleg 1,000,000,001 Chinese knockoff games. It's quite obvious there are many differences in this very basic looking title screen from what is seen in the final release. Although making a similar pose, Sonic's model appears to be pretty different, or is at least viewed from a different angle. The ring is also at a different angle, the banner and title text are blue instead of red and yellow respectively, there's no menu or copyright dates, and oh yeah, there's no background at all. And since there's no menu, there's no proper way to start or continue the game, and instead, pressing start on the controller will take you right to the level select screen, which, I'm not gonna lie, is pretty nifty. Now, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the stages and how they've changed in a bit, but first let's talk about some general gameplay and graphical differences that span the entire prototype. First and foremost, although using a new Sonic 3 color palette, Sonic and Tails both still use their sprites from Sonic 2 here. Other notable graphical differences include the star sprites missing from Invincibility, the Game Over graphic being also left over from Sonic 2, glitchy title cards, and finally, both protagonists lack any sort of victory pose when completing a stage, and will instead just default to their hurt animation. It's actually kind of funny, I like it. Then, as far as gameplay differences go, the special stages and their giant rings aren't implemented yet, bonus stages aren't accessible even though sparkles appear above the checkpoints if Sonic has over 50 rings, Tails has infinite flight power, which is honestly pretty nifty, and all the elemental shields lack their effects. So the flame shield won't protect you from fire damage or let you do the fire dash attack, the lightning shield won't attract rings, and the bubble shield won't let you breathe underwater. This build also uses different speed and heavy shoes icons in competition mode. Here they just appear as an S with an up or down arrow instead of a red or gray shoe. Although the special stages aren't playable in this prototype, meaning you can't get any Chaos Emeralds to unlock Super Sonic, coding for him still exists. Again, like we saw with the Sonic 2 prototypes, the only way to access Super Sonic here is to destroy an S monitor that can be placed in with the help of the game's debug mode. Super Sonic works basically the same here as in Sonic 2, except that only the Invincibility music plays instead of a unique song. That said, there is a unique theme meant for Super Sonic left over in the build that I guess goes left unused. And apparently due to an issue with Sonic's color palette, it will glitch out after the Super Sonic transformation wears out. This is very apparent in underwater segments. Just like in the Sonic 2 prototypes, Super Sonic's color palette messes up when underwater. And here Super Sonic turns pink, and then when the power wears off, normal Sonic appeared in a nice shade of magenta for me. Sonic fanfic writers, eat your heart out. There's not much for unused graphics in this prototype, just this thing that's believed to be some sort of button that was to be pressed by Knuckles like he does in Carnival Night Zone. Finally, and what I think is one of the most interesting discoveries in this prototype is that Sonic has the ability to perform a drop dash-like move by jumping while pressing up. This is similar to a move seen in Sonic Mania, and was first believed to be brought on by Christian Whitehead, or the Taxman, who spearheaded development on the game. However, he claims that this is mere uncanny coincidence, and that his drop dash move from Sonic Mania wasn't influenced by this prototype. I think? Before we move on, apparently this prototype has some leftover data from never seen anything like this. It just instantly completely messes up the stage's graphics and level collision. Apparently this object is used to test sprite scaling, as we can see the glitched out graphics shrink and then grow again. Honestly, it's just one of the strangest phenomena I think I've ever seen in a classic Sonic game. Okay, now on to Hydrocity, whatever, the water zone with the good music. Here again, the zone starts out different, as both Sonic and Tails just fall down in their idle pose instead of a proper falling animation. Also, the background in Act 1 is completely different from the final game, and interestingly, it is different and once again matches that scene in the level select icon. Zone ID 16, Acts 1 and 2, which were later repurposed into Lava Reef Zone Act 3 and the Hidden Palace Zone respectively, not to be confused with the Hidden Palace Zone of Sonic 2. Then here is Zone ID. But then that begs the question, why would they have added the Michael Jackson music back in for the final release later if this was the case? So yeah, it's all a big conundrum. Anyways, with all of that talk about the soundtrack, let's quickly go through just how much some of the tracks have changed. Songs by Michael Jackson and the people he collaborated with, like Brad Buxer, are pretty apparent. I'll steal two examples from the D-Pads video here to show you what I mean. So what does all of this have to do with this prototype, you might be wondering? Well, since the prototype uses a completely different soundtrack at this point, again about 9 weeks before the final release, this is